We're gonna wait for a couple people to jump on, but I hope everyone had a nice weekend and enjoyed what was nice weather and turned into snow. Here we are, another Monday. I just wanted to say thank you for all the support. We've received tons of positive feedback for our new segment of Mondays at the Manor. We've had a lot of comments, a lot of views, a lot of vendors inquiring about how to get on here. So keep it coming, keep watching. We're so excited to be a part of this now, but we won't let you wait any longer. I have the fairy godmother of the wedding industry here today. This is Prudy Nelson, and if you don't know who she is the owner of Stonegate Manor, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're happy to have you here at the Manor House.
So, well, first question, how did you start with weddings? How did you get involved with the wedding industry?
Oh, let's see here. About maybe 6 or 7 years ago, my husband and I, Tom, my husband and I started an orphanage in Uganda, and as one of the money-making projects to help support the orphanage. Through a long series, I won't bore you with all the details, but I acquired about 400 place settings of vintage china, which I started renting out for weddings. And I found that I really enjoyed it. I found that I enjoyed the relationships that I formed with the brides, and that I became more than just the person that provided the china. I mean, we did a lot of talking, and sometimes found I was talking them off the ledge a little bit. And then one thing led to another, and here we are.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part about owning a wedding venue? I know a lot of people are like, that must be so cool. What would you say is your favorite part?
It is kind of cool, but my favorite part is being a part of so many great young people's lives.
Absolutely.
Because it's sad for me when the weddings come to a certain extent, because that pretty much means that it's over. Although I've been really lucky, I have been able to maintain contact with several of the couples that have gotten married here that I've been involved with in the past. But so my favorite part of the relationships, but my second favorite part are the parties. Yeah, I just have a really great time.
We've had some really fun ones.
We've had some very fun ones, and that's a lot.
What would you say?
And the wedding cake is really important to me too.
Absolutely,
very important.
That's a must.
Yep, absolutely.
So then, what would you say? Going into the actual wedding process, what are some things the wedding couple should talk about, or if they even want to have a wedding? What are some of the key things they should discuss about going into it?
I think that what I have noticed, I've been involved now with probably 75, 80 weddings.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. What I've noticed is that people get really enmeshed and bogged down in the minutia, and they sort of lose track of the whole thing. Yeah. So I think that the most important thing to do after you decide to get married is to realize that marriage is entirely different than a wedding or a reception. Marriage is what is really the key here, and you need to keep your eye on the prize. Yeah. And you can have a long and happy marriage and never have a big wedding or a reception. Right. I mean, I've been married for 28 or 29 years, and we didn't have really any kind of a wedding or a reception. So I think the very first thing that you need to do is to decide, do we really want to have one? We want to be married, we want to combine our lives, but do we really want to have?
That's great.
Or do we want to have it on the same day? Do we want to have some small, intimate wedding so that this really significant event that's taking place when I and me becomes a we, so that's not overshadowed or impinged upon by all this party planning process.
Absolutely. So then what would you say to a couple or anyone kind of deciding if they want to have a wedding? If they decide that they want to have a wedding, what should they talk about, the actual guts of the wedding? What are the key things that they should discuss about their wedding?
Well, I think that two things, more than two things, but the first is what's non-negotiable? What absolutely do you have to have, and if you don't have, you're gonna be devastated for the rest of your life. And when you really think about it in that terms, you know, and you think, okay, 40 years from now, is this going to be all that important to me? You're going to realize that there's not a lot that has to be non-negotiable. Secondly is how much can we afford, but more importantly is how much do we want to spend?
Absolutely.
And I think that you need to come up with a pretty firm number, and I think that you need to agree that you're not going to deviate from that, because it's too easy to add on $100 here, and before you know it, then you're paying for this huge thing that you're not going to enjoy that much, and you're worried about the bills that are going to be coming due.
And that leads me to my second question is, should they discuss a budget? You create a budget. How do they talk about that? Because some people might feel uncomfortable talking about money, especially when you're not married yet, or you know, you're in the process of doing that.
Well, I think that if you're going to be getting married or you're in the process, you better become really comfortable about talking about money, because otherwise that's a problem. Bigger problem than just your wedding expenses. But I think that the most important thing is to determine what is it that are you trying to accomplish with this reception. Are you wanting it to be more about aesthetics and how it looks, and you know, so that the pictures are perfect and everything is like Pinterest worthy or worthy of being, you know, in Martha Stewart's weddings magazine? Or is this about, is it more experiential? Are you most interested in having your guests have a good time?
Absolutely.
Is the fun part of it the most important thing? Because I think once you get that sorted out, all the other decisions kind of can fall in line with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, for instance, if you, even choosing your wedding venue, it makes a difference. You know, do you want to have something that's just, you know, is going to make these pictures that people are going to ooh and ah over like an art museum? Or are you interested in having some place where there's plenty of room to get out and get dirty and have a fire and you know, play lawn games? So again, the goal for what you're trying to accomplish. And then I think it's very easy for people to, you know, your mom will say, oh, well, you know, cousin Susie's wedding, they did X, Y, and Z, and then you think, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that, I need to think about that, I need to do X, Y, and Z. But if you look at everything, and is this going to make my wedding more fun for my guests, then I think you'll find out you can get rid of a lot of stuff. But back to your question about budgets, I think that once you determine what's important, then you'll know how more to break down your
where to allocate
the money.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're going for fun, if you're going for the guest experience, then you know, you may want to spend more money on the DJ. You may want to spend more money on the bar.
Absolutely.
You know, there may be some extra things that you wouldn't think of normally.
Absolutely.
I was at a wedding once where they brought in tango dancers. And,
that's awesome.
You know, they showed, and you know, you could bring in line dancing people. You could bring in, you want to make sure that you hired a DJ that was a good ring master of ceremonies. It's going to get people out and moving, and it won't be a time when you want to, you know, really scrimp on that and just have a playlist. You know, your iPhone playlist.
I think those are very key principles, because I on the coordination side, I think that's a lot of questions too, is people don't just get so overwhelmed with the everything that they lose sight of the main principles. Like you said, if it's having a big party and, you know, entertaining your guests is the main priority, then the DJ or location might be your main point to your budget. And then, you know, the decor, kind of like you said, may not be so big. But absolutely. I think those are great points.
I mean, if you want to make it into Martha Stewart weddings, then you probably do need to spend a lot of time and money on flowers and those kinds of things. But for most of us, that's not attainable anyway. So it's sort of like, why try? The other thing is that I see people try and be somebody that they're not, and they think, that stuff. So for me to think, oh, I'm gonna make 30 centerpieces that are gonna be, all crafty, made with this and that would be pure torture for me.
Yeah.
And it would turn out awful. And so why try?
Yeah.
It's not a time to all of a sudden decide that
you're gonna be a craftsman.
Right.
Doing it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's actually a really great point too, is, I had a discussion with one of my brides last week, and she said the same thing, like, I'm not craftsy, I'm having someone else do it, and maybe that's something that you want to spend a little extra money on, the things that aren't going to make you pull out your hair and be mad that you're planning a wedding. You want to enjoy the process.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So do the stuff that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
And don't get suckered into somebody else's agenda.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're taking your parents' money, then you need to accommodate their wishes, but if it's your money, then you can't let somebody else make you feel guilty for not doing something or for doing something.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
your money, it's your day.
Right.
Go for it.
And then I guess to piggy off that, because we kind of talked about it, but what do you think are key things that should be in the budget? Like, the non-negotiables or things that you should absolutely think about.
Well, I think that obviously, there are the things like the catering and there are things that you can't do without if you're going to have a party.
Right.
But, so you figure out what the basics are. We need X, Y, Z, and A and B. But do you really need C? Do you really need party favors?
Yeah.
Do you really need to have, the wedding cake is really important to me, but does it have to be, some big super fancy thing, or can you have a smaller fancy thing? And you just
think about those
think
things.
about what's important.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great piece of advice. And again, I said even my clients are, stressed out about putting their money towards things that they necessarily didn't even care to spend money on or don't want to spend money on. So really focusing on the important aspects of your budget and your wedding. The end goal is what are you trying to accomplish with your wedding and reception?
Yeah, and don't let the wedding spoil the marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any last thoughts?
No, I think I have lots more thoughts. But
that'll be another episode. We'll do another episode.
Several episodes, but no, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you all for hopping on. We did record this, so we're able to put this on Instagram and eventually YouTube, so we're not leaving you guys out. We just wanted to keep doing another live session. As always, if you have any questions specifically, go ahead and feel free to comment or DM us if you want to do that as well. Next week, we have another exciting guest. He is a key part of your wedding, some of the things we might have even talked about today, so make sure you hop on next week at Mondays at the Manor. All right, you guys, have a great week. Thank you again. Thank you again, Prudy.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.